Hi everybody, my name is Stu Harrison and welcome to a holiday shopping guide coming up for the Christmas selling season in 2021. We are going to go through all of the major manufacturers and some of the models that you as a customer should have on your list. Now we have an amazing community of subscribers already here on YouTube, more than 30,000 at this point, which is awesome. So this video is really going out to people who are completely new to the space. So for people who are already super familiar with the channel, you're gonna be seeing some information that you've already digested through some of our reviews. But for people completely new, not just to our channel, but to the whole piano universe, this might be a very helpful summary. And that's exactly who we've made this for and why we've made it. To just condense a lot of information about both the brands as well as some nice key models that you may want to be shopping for and have your eye on this holiday season. So without further ado, let's dive right in with our review of our top keyboards of the season. So Roland is definitely going to make this list of brands, manufacturers that you should be checking out and aware. I have always had a soft spot in my heart for this brand. Completely aside from the channel, this has been a brand that I've spent my own money on and really enjoyed playing. So I've got that connection with it. However, I really like several models in their lineup in this price range, primarily for two reasons. One is definitely action. So we're talking about models RP-102, FP-10, and FP-30X. All three of these models use, in my opinion, probably the best piano action under 1,500 bucks that money can buy. And that would be the PHA-4 action. So all three of those models are using that. For players where the priority is definitely the feel and you're open to a variety of different styles of action, I would highly recommend that you check that out. We're talking about escapement, we're talking about a triple sensor, we're talking about a really nice textured key top, which you wouldn't think is something that costs manufacturers a lot of money, but surprisingly it does. And so players or people who are going to be focusing on technique, I think would be well advised to check that brand out, and specifically those three models. The second reason I really like Roland for this price point is their solid integration with their included apps, their Bluetooth connection, and just overall the nice blend of functionality. And so particularly with the FP-30X and the RP-102, you're going to have the option of having baked in rhythms that are right a part of the app, very easy Bluetooth connection, so you don't have to be dealing with a lot of wires or cables, and quite a few really beefy sounds. And particularly with the FP-30X, the brand new BMC chip. So for people thinking about having to use a wide range of sounds in possibly professional settings as well as the action, you're certainly going to want to check that out. So there's three models to be aware of on the Roland side for action and overall functionality. FP-30X, FP-10 for sure, RP-102. With the FP line, you're looking at a well-built, portable, well-rounded digital piano offering. And the FP-10 in particular is probably the lowest cost, highest value action instrument that I'm aware of. Certainly we had a very positive review of that model. We've loved experiencing that model here at the store. And with that, you're essentially getting a PHA-4 action wrapped around a very small case. Lightweight, easy to transport, easy to use, and still includes the Bluetooth connection. Moving up to the FP-30X, you essentially take everything that was great about the FP-10 and you're adding a whole bunch more. You're getting your discrete 1/4-inch outputs, which is fantastic for gigging musicians. You're getting your Bluetooth audio as well as your Bluetooth MIDI, which is awesome as well. That's something that's been added from the 30 to the 30X. along with the 1/4-inch outputs, and then some improved sound quality as well through the BMC chip. The RP-102 is just a perennial favorite that they've had around for quite a while, but still delivering quite a bit to the marketplace. You've got the PHA-4 action, which we've mentioned several times here, but then you've got hundreds of sounds available through the app. You have the entire General MIDI 2 sound bank available to you, as well as the stock sounds, and all of the rhythms as well. So you've got sort of auto accompaniment through the RP-102, and that is in a home digital design. So the first two are portable, that RP-102 is in a home digital design, all available at really competitive rates. No digital piano shopping guide is going to be complete without a few entries from Yamaha. This is an industry juggernaut, and there are some perennial favorites on this list that definitely are worth consideration. Two specifically that I'm going to highlight. The P125, which has been with us for a few years and has always just been a home run with the buying audience right from day one. The other one is the DGX 670, which is a new update to the 660. So let's talk about those two for just a moment. The P125 delivers several values that really were kind of first to market, and the combination still stays relevant and, in my opinion, delivers a great value. You've got USB audio, you've got a fantastic speaker system that really brings crisp, clear audio, and you've got some phenomenal samples shoved in there as well. So you've got really solid piano tone, you've got the USB audio interface, you've got some great sounding speakers on board, as well as onboard accompaniments. So for people who are looking for a lightweight, low cost, generally an all-round good performer, and they prefer the Yamaha sound and the Yamaha action, I mean the P125 really is their best response to kind of the FP10, FP30 range from Roland. Now, the FP-30X is probably objectively now exceeded what the 125 is offering, but it's also a little more money. So the 125 still remains on my list of great instruments to consider going into this holiday season. The DGX 670 is a very different beast. Now, while it uses the exact same action as what's on the P125, which is their GHS action, kind of a bit more of a basic action, but lots of people really enjoy how it feels. The 670 is a virtual ensemble instrument. This comes with numerous recording capabilities, numerous onboard auto accompaniment capabilities, hundreds and hundreds of sounds to play along with. So a completely different experience than the 125, which is more lightweight, fewer sounds, and designed really for portable performance. The DGX 670, while being hypothetically portable, is likely to be found more in stationary situations where you can set it up and really love and explore all of those different musical experiences. So the one is likely focused a little more on, say, pianistic activities. The other one is going to be kind of more of a all-round musical hobbyist type of an instrument. So there's our two entries for the Yamaha line in the price point we're talking about. Let's move on to Kawai. If Kawai is really known for one thing on this list, especially in this specific price point, it's going to be the quality of its acoustic piano tone. This is something that Kawai has really focused on for a long time as being its major defining point of value, especially in the lower price point ranges. I think when you get into the upper ranges, you could definitely add their actions to that list, but in this lower range, I think their actions are competitive but comparable to others. The sound, on the other hand, really stands out to people who gravitate towards that SKEX tone. So there's 4 models to draw your attention to when it comes to the Kawai this season. The brand new KDP70 and the KDP120. These are 2 home models, meaning that they have proper stand, 3 pedals, both include benches. And then 2 portables, which is going to be the ES110, been with us for a while, and the ES520, which is a fairly new entry. So first with the KDPs, these are home digital pianos that come with the full triple pedal, the full stand, kind of designed to look like home digitals. Very similar to, say, the Roland RP102 we've also already mentioned earlier in the video. The KDP75 is an update to the KDP70, and with that they have added an update to the action. There's some improved padding with the action. They've also updated the sample that's included with that. They've updated the polyphony. So a slightly newer sound chip, a slightly improved action that's even quieter for bystanders if you're using the headphones. Includes some new headphone technology on there as well. When we move into the KDP120, we've still got those killer 40-watt rated speaker performance, which is certainly one of the most beefy instruments of anything on our list right now. It's got an update to the action as well, just like the KDP75 with improved cushioning. It's got the triple sensor on the 120. It also has Bluetooth and, of course, includes that famous SKEX sample set. While both the KDPs are a little light on other features, the focus, of course, here is the piano experience and specifically with tone. If that is important to you as a player, or perhaps it's just something that you're curious about and you happen to be near a showroom and you want to check out, that's the highlight. When it comes to the ES110 and the ES520, these are portables, so very similar to the Roland FP line or the Yamaha P series. The ES110 with us for a couple of years now, but still delivering Bluetooth technology, still delivering a really strong speaker performance, and still delivering individual 88-note samples on the EX Concert Grand with quarter-inch audio discrete outputs. So very functional, lightweight, easy to play, and killer acoustic piano tone on that ES110. The ES520 is a newer entrant into this category. The 520 and the 920 were both released earlier this year. 920 creeping up there in price, so the only reason it's not on our list is that it's really kind of in a different price range. But the 520, not that far away from the ES110, so that's why we've included it here. So for people who are looking for a much beefier speaker performance, looking for a beefier tone chip, and looking for an improved action experience, you're gonna wanna check out this ES520. Think of it as just the deluxe, completely loaded version of the ES110 in a lot of ways. we come to Casio. And Casio is going to have 5 models on this list. Now, that doesn't mean that we particularly like Casio any better or worse than any other manufacturers. It's just Casio focuses specifically on this category. We have their PX line, their Privia line, which really comes in 2 categories, the PX770 and the PX870. Both great home digitals, but it comes in a nice compact frame. Little smaller footprint, but still loaded with a lot of great features. The 770 is probably most comparable with Kawai's KDP125 and Casio's PX870, which I happen to really enjoy, is pretty comparable to the KDP120 as well. That 870 and the 120 both clock in at 40 watts, the 870 presenting an even nicer top-end experience in terms of the higher frequencies. They've got 4 speakers versus the 2 on the Kawai. Now when you line up the Casios versus the Kawais, there are going to be slightly fewer features, slightly less in the spec department in terms of overall polyphony, in terms of just generally the complexity of the tone engine. But on the other hand, we're also talking about several $100s less per model. So the value that the Casio brings is really undeniable. For that reason alone, it needs to be on the list, particularly since over the last 5 or 6 years, Casio has proven that it deserves to be in the same category, the same conversations as those entry-level models from Roland, Yamaha, or Kawai. 2 portable models that arrived a couple of years ago and have proven to be quite popular have been the PXS1000 and PXS3000 models. Now these are really slick-looking cabinets, very slim, very lightweight, with an emphasis on, in the case of the 1000, on the piano tonal experience. Lots of very cool kind of ambient effects that you can easily trigger off there. And in the case of the 3000, almost getting into a gigging board with easily assignable knobs, a couple of modular wheels, or modulation wheels rather, and an enormous number of onboard sounds, all of which are remarkably high quality. And that's the 3000 that we're talking about. Now, some of you may be online and starting to do some research about the differences between the PXS1000 and the 1100, which should be coming out relatively soon in some markets. Not sure whether it's going to arrive before or after Christmas. Highly related to the 1000, really looking at an update in the speaker design for people who are going to be using this a lot without headphones, as well as included Bluetooth, MIDI, and audio. On the 1000 and 3000 right now, there's no Bluetooth MIDI, but you can stream Bluetooth audio to those 2 machines and use it as a speaker, just as you can now with the FP-30X. One last model on the Casio end, which is the CDPS350. Now this is an interesting beast because essentially what they've done is they've taken the content of the PXS3000 and they've put it into a slightly more lightweight architecture, both in terms of the cabinet or the frame of the instrument, as well as the processor or the circuitry. So this is a lower fidelity sound. It's a more simplified kind of motherboard or sound chip, but it still has access to all of the same hundreds of sounds that are loaded on the 3000, but for a remarkable price. So for people who are looking for a super low cost, super high value, all around performer that's more about dipping your toe into the world of piano playing rather than looking for a fully professional instrument, the CDPS350 deserves a very long look. last mention is going to be Korg. Now, here on the channel, we haven't had a great opportunity to review directly Korgs, but I have an extensive history with that line. In fact, my very first digital piano that I ever bought was an N264 Korg portable synth, and it's always had a place of respect in my mind. The lines to take a look at for there are the SP and LP lines. Now the SP tends to be on the portable side, so they'd be similar to your FP Rolands or the P series Yamaha, and then your LP series, which actually have quite a bit of resemblance to, say, Roland's old F140 or even a little bit of the Casio PX770 or 870. So both of those LP models as well as the SP models all fall into this category. It's a slightly different piano tone, it's a slightly different action, and a point of clarity for people who are just starting their research. Korg has an action which they call the RH3, the responsive hammer 3. This is different than Kawai's responsive hammer 3. Be nice if those two committees got together at some point and agreed to disambiguate. Is that a word? It is now. And name them something a little clearer so that people aren't getting confused. But just so you know, if you're doing some research into Korg and you're considering it on your list, that RH3 is not a Kawai action or vice versa. Two very separate. But one thing that Korg has always been known for is a very high level of build quality. It has, it originated as a Japanese company, and still quite a bit of activity happens in Japan with Korg, just as it does with Kawai, Roland, and Yamaha. We really hope that this has been a nice, helpful roundup and some kind of top-level broad strokes about what each of these brands and models brings to the market, so that as you're listening to this, if one just sounds like it's really connecting with your needs as a player or perhaps as a family looking for somebody who's new to piano, that this might save you a few hours of endlessly clicking through Google, or at least that's the hope. We really appreciate that you've checked our video out. If it's the first time that you have landed here at Merriam Pianos on YouTube, please hit subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Perhaps you'd like to come back and check more videos out in the future. And of course, happy shopping this holiday season. We'll see you back for more later. My name is Stu Harrison. Take care for now.